It's actually going really great. I'm really happy that we're going to see best of fives, and I really expect some great Dota today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the balance within the meta. And we haven't seen the balance yesterday, right? The games were completely out of control. I have seen some imbalanced picks overall, and some balance boards as well upstairs in the recreational room for us. Do you like those things, balance boards?
I love those things.
I think they represent like the balance in Dota very well. See, like
there,
sometimes
you can see exactly.
Sometimes
there.
like that, right? Like you pick maybe a bounty hunter in the one role and it just doesn't work out, or you. Well, what's wrong, boys? This wasn't a balance board. No, this was so you know like those.
What exactly?
Okay, so I'll explain what happened. So it turns out that Reddit take stuff really seriously, and you know when they told us to lay off Kyle, this was them sending a message, and the message is heard loud and clear. But jokes on you, I can do my job just as well with my hand, or my mouth rather, as well as my hand. So I'm good.
So Reddit planted the balance board, right?
Yeah, Reddit tried to kill me. They, you know what it was like? She's done
sabotage? Did they
She's done such a good
board?
job as like a remote host, and they were like, "Oh, all these people are bullying Kyle. They just want me gone."
Yeah,
right, but I'm still here, suckers.
Yeah. I'm used to some threads, you know, hate threads or something like that. But this is completely new. Actually, going for someone's life or someone's ARB, that's crazy.
But in a really creative way. Internet always does it in a really creative way.
Of course.
So
and you can't track them back to them, right?
And why would you? I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
How can you ever track a balance board? Like
fingerprints?
Yeah, you couldn't.
Hey, I would like to point out I was living up to my name. I got some serious airtime, boys. Okay, I almost done a backflip. Okay. But like, I mean, it was definitely a fun time. I realized very quickly we were starting very early today, so I just didn't bother sleeping. I was just up doing my research because we got some SEA action here, best of fives. But I woke you up as well, right, Liz? I just came to your door.
So what happened is I'm about to go to bed. I'm about to go sleep, right? And I hear the knock on my hotel room doors, and I open it up, and there's KP, and he's like showing his arms, and he's like, Is this all right? I'm like, yeah, it looks all right. Just normal set of hands. And he's like, what? How did you show me? He's like, but I can only...
I was like, this is my range of motion right now. I was like, I can kind of go like this, and then I can do this. and we continued to look at each other for a while like this. He said, "You'll be fine. Just wait until." I'm glad I didn't wait until the morning. We sought assistance. A very large, lovely Ukrainian lady in the middle of the night. She was able to relieve my pain. And luckily, I was able to be here this morning. They look after you out here.
Yeah, they really do. Dumbass.
The best part is like I'm on color scheme as well because we've got the black and blue for WePlay.
To whom was it more awkward when he did that, right? When he came to a room.
He was topless, so
it wasn't awkward. It was the perfect moment.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit upset because like this means like I can't JO right now. Like jam out. Because I mean, you guys
do
sit
hands
here.
up?
Yeah, I can do one hands up. Hello, that's all I've got.
One hands up.
One hands up. This is a poor man hands up.
Put your hands up. No way.
I really wish I could just like rip this off right now. I was like, got you, everyone. No, it's actually stuck here, so I'm gonna shuffle over a little bit and say, boys, how are we feeling about this day? Because this is going to be the longest day we've had, and we're opening it up with SEA, which is known to be a bloodbath region.
Yeah, it's known to be a bloodbath region, and let's see, we have Adroit versus Geek fam starting up, then Navi versus HR, and Crazy versus EG to finish it off. I think these two first series look really good. I'm hyped, specifically because Adroit managed to win versus TNC. Like, they actually managed to dominate TNC in 2 games, and I think it wasn't only the way they played, their drafts were so on point. I think if they continue to draft the way they drafted on the first day, they can take Geek fam.
Really?
Look, if they could take TNC, I think they can take Geek fam.
Yeah, but TNC looked really shaky, right? Because the first game, when TNC had a really good draft, they destroyed Adroit. Next 2 games, when you looked at TNC's draft, they really didn't have any idea behind it. They just kind of, let's pick what everyone likes to play, right? And that's when Adroit stomped them.
No, that's my point. If they draft the same way they drafted in the first 2 games, in the second and third game of that series, I think they can take Adroit. They
Geek
can
Fam.
take Geek Fam as
Yeah,
well.
but
Yeah.
you know, we watched Geek Fam. Me and Pigeon, we actually casted that game, so I remember that Geek Fam drafted really well against Boom. The one game that Boom won, they had that like Darkseer draft and ran at them. So I kind of feel like from what I've seen and how the opponents of these teams have played, I definitely give the edge a bit to Geek Fam.
You're just a little bit missing my point. I'm completely agreeing with you, right?
Yeah.
I think that Adroit is definitely the underdog in this match, but if the stars align and if they manage to get the same kind of matches like in that first series versus TNC, if they manage to draft the same way, they have a chance.
That's true.
But Geek Fam definitely are your favorites here.
I think what would be fair to say, like the point here is we've seen Geek Fam assertion of dominance, right? Which we all like a little bit of that. But then on the other side, we were talking about this yesterday with Nigma, right? When they go the long mile, when they have longer series, when they're going further through the tournament, they improve and improve. And would it be fair to say that's what we saw from Adroit when they played up against TNC? Because they started off pretty rough, they got handled quite bad, and then they got better and better and came back from a 1-0 deficit?
That's a really hard question when we've only seen one series, right? So Nigma, we've seen them in multiple tournaments, climbing back, getting better and better. On the other hand, Adroit, we saw only one series, and in which their opponent in the second two games didn't look really good.
And also their opponent had the standard.
Yeah, well, that's saying that's why they didn't look so good, right? So I can't really say. In my opinion, Adroit won because TNC was looking shaky, not because necessarily they were looking too good. So I want to see if Adroit is really as good as they are, and I think they can prove it against Geek Fam if they really are that good.
So you think it'd be fair to say that it was not as much they were getting more warmed up as the games were going on, it was more that TNC's drafts didn't hold up or their playstyle didn't?
Yeah, I'd
Get better.
rather say that, yeah.
Okay, well, that's that series. Let's talk a little bit about the midday way. Somewhere you guys, I mean, you would have played with a lot of these players. You're probably most knowledgeable in this area. Na'Vi versus Hellraisers in a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised first and foremost to see Hellraisers even come out on top versus Virtus.pro, right? They completely demolished them, and I think one of those, we were talking about him, and we said that he's a hit or miss kind of a player. Roger was definitely hitting versus Virtus.pro and punching quite high. He demolished them. If he shows up the same way, I think they can take the series.
Yeah, but do you think that Virtus.pro will get to their former form, right? I kind of don't see them being that good as they were when they had Ramses.
No, of course not. I think they were just a top-tier team that wasn't satisfied with the way they performed at TI. Everywhere else that they played, they would end up first or second.
And, of course, the final series will be Crazy versus EG. Less assessment needed there when you know it's probably going to be 5 out of the 6 players in that 3v3 that we're going to have on the final day are probably going to be EG members. So instead, we should probably dive into the draft because we have already got some bans out. And I just realized that I can actually only look like, I'm trying to like sit here with my hands on the desk. This is the best I can do. So tell me, boys, what's happening with the draft?
Yeah, you're doing all right. We see some normal bans. We see a Wisp coming back into the first banning phase as well. After yesterday, that's understandable. I think we are seeing the meta develop a little bit.
Yeah, you actually covered that. You said the Wisp gets forgotten a little bit, then someone who actually knows what they're doing plays it, and then everyone is instantly afraid of it. So I guess that's what's happening.
I'm surprised that Lycan isn't banned out, though. We see Void and Ancient Apparition, right? Also very interesting that Void is banned out by Adroit.
Yeah, with the Snapfire and the AA especially already banned. Like those are some of the better combos we're seeing at the moment. With
And also Geek Fam didn't really play that Void in the first series, so...
I actually expected the Void Spirit first pick. Both of these teams like the hero. Actually, the whole SEA region, everyone likes Void Spirit now, right now. So I actually thought it was going to be the first pick. Chen, not really surprising, because we were talking about how these push strats with the buff to the Necro are very strong. So this could actually be a Lycan setup.
The thing is, Adroit, they love their Sven. And that's one of those heroes that can be considered alright versus Lycan. But that's all I'm thinking about right now. That's Lycan. Like, that hero is just crazy broken at the moment. And there's a reason why everyone was banning it yesterday. However, in SCA, perhaps they have... pretty much drafts are region-based, right? And SCA perhaps might have a different idea about what's broken at the moment in the patch, so that Lycan just goes completely unbanned, untouched.
In your opinion, does Sven really take care of the Lycan that well?
No,
I don't think so, right?
I agree. It's maybe with some Aghanims builds, right? That's what I'm saying. You have the cleave versus all the minions too, so that kind of helps out. Obviously, if you reach that late game part of the game,
Yeah, definitely.
you can deal with him, but even then it's difficult if he itemizes properly. And early on, that's the problem with Lycan right now. It's the hero that just wins the game in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's one of those heroes that's actually, it's really fast now that the ulti lasts for 22 seconds. Sven really doesn't like to be kited around.
Yep.
And that's how I, but then again, Sven can defend his supports somewhat. So that could be a factor, but I still would refrain from it against the Lycan, I think.
Do you think a big part of his potency is to do with maybe the lack of BKB piercing stuns we're seeing, right? Like Beastmaster is the only one that comes to mind. We've seen a little bit of Necro, but things like the Bane aren't appearing at all, which would have usually been a decent counter to the Lycan, right? To hold him in place so you can kill him off.
Well, yes, but not necessarily. You always go for the Helm of the Dominator, like Necro 1, Helm of the Dom. You have the Centaur. You usually would like to go for that. So actually, Roar is really good. I think it's awesome against the Lycan. But when it comes to Bane, I wouldn't say that it's the best one. Those squishy supports are actually the ones that get into trouble a lot, and Lycan always has the units to, if you're sleeping yourself, you're not really helping, because he's gonna break it with one of the units. And just
the thing is, when you're playing versus Lycan, you need to have heroes that are able to instantly disable him and keep him controlled until someone TPs. Because what's Lycan going to do? He's going to be split pushing you constantly. So you need something like a Shaker that's going to be able to hide in the trees, fissure him, then perhaps Totem or Echo Slam, whatever. But you need multiple instances of stuns, of controls, so that someone can TP in and stop that split push. But interesting draft so far. They opened up with 2 supports on both sides. They aren't really hiding anything. Shaker is a little bit flexible. He can be your position 3 too, but usually is played as 4 at the moment. Opens up a lot of mid lane aggression. When you pick a Shaker, you know that your offlane should be safe because of the fissure blocks and equilibrium plays, and you also know that your mid lane has that aggressive potential with a few rotations.
Yeah, both teams have really strong laning supports, right? Rubik and Chen actually put up a lot of lane pressure. On the other hand, the Shaker is gonna secure first few waves for his offlaner, and I mean, I don't have to talk about Lich, how strong he is in the lane with the spams. So we could actually see these guys focusing a lot on the laning stage, which I think is a smart play, because we saw them snowball out of control a few games and it looked really good.
The only problem is when you open up like this with 2 supports, it just allows some heroes to go through. Something like a Darkseer that you guys talked about earlier, even though it's not really great with in combination, it doesn't synergize really well with, let's say, a Shaker or a Rubik, right? But heroes such as that come to your mind because you have no ways to counter it but with some cores. It's not only about Darkseer. There's obviously other cheese picks that come to my mind that can be picked.
You can maybe use the Chen's creeps as well with the Iron Shells early on, so it's not a complete useless combo with both your supports, right?
I'm just saying, there's a reason why people are stepping away from 2 supports openings.
Yeah.
But with the 4 bans early on, and that 1 ban in the second stage, I think it's becoming more and more apparent to everyone that you need to save your win condition and your playmaker for those last 2 picks.
Yeah, but look at this. We get a Slark now. Like, getting a Slark now makes no difference if they got him first pick. It's not a great Slark game. You're playing against a lane that's going to have a Rubik. I'm actually not a fan of this pick.
I'm not a fan as well.
It doesn't really counter anything on the board right now, right?
Not only does it not counter anything on the board, I guess if you latch on to Rubik, you can take him down, right? But the problem is you're playing versus a Chen. And Slark, usually what he likes to do is, you know, come from behind, jump in, take care of one target, jump out, get some more stacks. Chen kind of doesn't allow you to do that because of the heals. And
Speaking of heals, Necrophos is going to be emerged in the 3rd pick. Something you mentioned a little bit earlier. We've been seeing a little bit more this year. It felt like it was untended to, no attention given to it for maybe a while now. Is this newfound attention justified?
I actually, in a lot of these games, he works really well because he completely counters your carry, right? Your carry gets to 50%, he just dies. And there aren't a lot of spells or things to purge his Ghost Shroud with, so he actually works quite well. I don't know, maybe right now heroes that are actually good against him are not being played that much. Nyx is usually getting banned and stuff like that, so I think that in a lot of these games that he was picked, it was actually a great pick.
He synergizes really well with Chen, but in this game, the reason why he was picked is very much like the reason why Bloodseeker was picked, and that's he counters Slark. It isn't really that apparent how Necro counters Slark, but the thing is, when you're playing Slark versus Necro, it's very difficult to play that game as... now, again, how does Slark like to play? He likes to go in, get himself really low, trade hits, then pop his ulti, run back, heal up, go back in, right? Necro doesn't allow you to do that. If you drop to 50%, he's ulting you and you're dying. Bloodseeker, I mean, we don't
natural
really...
counter,
yeah,
right?
natural counter to Slark. That's way more apparent and way more easier to talk about.
I'm really loving this Adroit draft. Or, on the other hand, I'm really disliking the Geek Fam draft. I don't really see what the Legion Commander does here. It's not really the best pick. I guess you're playing against a Chen, you're playing against a Necro, double heal. Not like you're going to be bursting anyone, and not like there's enough burst on Geek Fam anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, Legion goes for a Spirit Vessel. I've seen those builds. But is that really the way you want to utilize this hero?
Yeah, you don't even have a natural vessel builder.
I think
point.
Legion goes. I think Legion goes for it. I've seen offlane players in Europe, maybe not lately, but let's say 3-4 months back, were sometimes going for those utility builds, and they would sometimes start with the vessel.
I think you can go for some utility such as pipe, like before, right? Vessel on Legion. I mean, if you don't have anyone else, all right, but yeah, it's rough. I think they need a mid laner that's able to play make and also buy that vessel. Something.
Ember?
Ember comes to mind, yeah, but you're gonna put that Ember versus Necron Bloodseeker
and the problem is Adroit has last pick, right? So even they can go for a Huskar, destroy them, right? And then I really don't know what Geek Fam is going to do, so I'm...
And does it feel like right now, I was thinking maybe Kunkka for Geek Fam, but then there's too many cheese picks, right? Because you mentioned the Huskar, you could maybe still look at someone, maybe not like Meepo, but there's a lot of counters still, and the lane matchups wouldn't be bad against the Kunkka for them? Like, is there actually a hero that fixes this draft clearly for Geek Fam?
SF is good. Is it in...
SF would be all right.
SF
versus that Prophet, versus Bloodseeker.
I actually thought
Necro.
Adroit had the last pick because Geek Fam missed the ban, right? So, but they actually have the last pick, and I think that SF here works really well. He's going to win the lane, and he is the magical damage needed to,
Look at you. There you go.
Yeah.
It's around the money.
Something we've seen not picked earlier versus Necro, even though we advised that it's a really good hero to round up this draft.
It's one of the easiest heroes to kind of fix your mid game, right? Because if it gets shut down lane, it always recovers. It gives you good push, which they were lacking